All right. Welcome back to episode 5 of the Mitten Athletics Live podcast. A little different today. We are going to have a special guest. First one, hopefully not the last one. We'll see how this goes.
We've got 2 books. So if it's the last one, that means that something bad has happened between now and next Thursday.
That's true. As always, I'm your host, Aaron Ide, along with Colin Hunter. And we are brought to you by Mitten Athletic Supplies. Supplying you with anything you need from Gill Athletics and really anything you need track and field. So please reach out if we can help. All right. Well, today's episode, our first guest, Lonnie Pugh. Some of you may know him from way back when here in Michigan, track and field, but he has gone through a lot of places, and I don't want to take too much from his story, but I just want to say that longtime friend and teammate of mine. I think I've known him since 2006, maybe. Is that when you were a sophomore?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, Lonnie, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little about yourself, where you came from, a little bit of your story.
Awesome. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Lonnie Pugh. As Aaron said earlier, I'm his teammate from Michigan State. I'm originally from Michigan, east side of the state, originally from Detroit, Michigan. Actually, I grew up on an island. Little people know I grew up on an island.
Yeah.
It's called Grozio, and that's where I discovered track and field.
Cool. How old were you when you first discovered track and field? When you first decided, like, hey, I enjoy this?
I was a freshman. A freshman when I started. A lot of people don't know this, but I actually quit after my first day.
I didn't even know that.
I quit. I remember, shout out to Coach Flan. He was my head football coach. And then he was also the throws coach for our track and field team.
Mm-hmm.
And
what school was this?
Grozell High School.
Okay.
Downriver. It's roughly about 20. Well, I shouldn't say 20. I'm going to say 30, 35 minutes away from Metro Airport.
Okay.
So he told me to come out one day, and I went out, and he had us thrown against the wall. And I said, "What is this?" And the next day, I went to the tennis meeting.
Man, I couldn't even imagine Lonnie out there playing tennis.
Let me tell you, I would have been a sick doubles partner. Just put me up in the net.
You would have been. You would have been. I just can't picture it knowing you.
Yeah. But
So it wasn't even like you hear about teams that you'll have it'll run kids off because everybody has to do at least one field event and one track event, and so the throwers quit, right? Because they don't want to run. It wasn't even that. It was
he had us thrown against the wall. I said, "What is this? What is this?" I said, "You know what? I got one better for you, Coach Flan. I'm gonna go on over to tennis and pick up a racket." Hopefully fulfill my Wimbledon dreams.
Clearly that did not work out. So what? Then day 2 you're at tennis, day 3 you're back at track going, yeah, it wasn't for me.
No, actually he called my mom. He called my mom and he told my mom something. I still to this day do not know what that conversation how it went down. All I know is I saw him. So as I was leaving the tennis interest meeting, he was coming in for practice and he said, "Hey, where you going?" I said, "Hey, I quit. See you at football." And I went over a friend's house for a couple hours. And when I got home, my mom was sitting in the living room. Did not say, "Hi, how's your day? It's wonderful to see you, son." Nothing. It was, "Hey, is it track or is it tennis?" And I'm like, how did this lady know that I even went to the tennis meeting? Not putting 2 and 2 together at the moment, right? Don't worry about it. I made the decision for you. You're going to track. Go to track practice tomorrow. And that's the rest is history.
All right. My guess is something along the lines of your mom saying, he's going to be a star. He's going to do this. Here it is.
We need some moms like your mom.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, Aaron knows how my mom is.
So. That's when mom says, when Mama Pugh says this is what you're doing. That's what you're doing.
What you're doing. She's only like 5'5", and I'm like 6'5". It's crazy.
Sick. You ever met Lonnie? You're like, wait, what?
Right.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I did not know that. Yeah, and then in sophomore year is the first time really we met a couple times during the season, but then Forest Hills Northern, right?
Yeah, that's where the magic happened, man.
Mm-hmm.
Where the magic happened.
Forest Hills Northern first state meet.
No, I went to the States my freshman year.
What? Okay, well, take it back. Apparently, I didn't know Lonnie as well as I thought. Secrets.
You know, like how the state meet or qualifying for states in Michigan.
Yep.
I believe you have to place top two,
Top
something
two.
along those lines. Yep. I ended up getting second spot.
Okay.
And
You remember what you threw?
No. I do know that my PR for that year was 129.
Okay.
It was 129 my freshman year, and went to Caledonia.
Oh yeah.
Caledonia, right?
Yep.
And
man, you guys were getting over to this side of the state. What?
Yeah.
There hasn't been
a lot. What's going on?
That was no freshman year. That was a state meet. There hasn't been a state meet on that side in years.
Yeah, so we hosted there, and I'm looking at these guys like, what is going on? They are tossing this discus far, and next thing you know, my first meet of my sophomore year, I popped 166 first meet.
That's awesome. So
that's why I'm like, okay, we got some cooking.
Yep.
So
what'd you end up? Do you remember what you ended up throwing your sophomore year?
179.
79 your sophomore year. How about your junior year?
180. I think it was 187.
Okay.
Yeah, 187.
And then senior year?
Senior year, I was out for about a couple months because after basketball, I had messed up my right hand.
Mm.
So I really didn't train too much with my right hand. I shot with my left hand. And then
I remember that.
Throwing 189 as a PR, but I actually fouled a 215-foot throw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would have been a state record at the time.
Is it? I think it still would be the state record. Colin's only gone to what's Colin's 212?
What about Zane? Did Zane throw pretty far? I mean, I know he was in the 200s, but
I'm pretty sure Colin still holds the record and I could look it up.
One way to find out.
I think it's like 212.
You guys keep talking.
Yeah, I remember that it was my conference meet.
Okay.
And they had. I'm a blast the school real quick, because that was kind of shady for me, man.
Colin 210 1 inch.
Okay.
There you go. Still would have been it, but they held the ring down with some tape. Milan High School tape, and I hit the inside of the ring, and it flew. I didn't step on it; I was behind it, and it was apparently enough pressure to where the ring just flew.
Mm-hmm.
And all you saw was my discus just kept going. There was a fence, and it hit too close to the fence. And my coach said, "Just mark it. Just see what it is." And they marked it, and that guy read off 215. And I think my coach could have cried that day.
So you fouled because the ring moved, not because you actually fouled.
Correct.
So it wasn't out of sector. It was the ring.
Correct.
Man, so when we bitch about schools not FAT, not having volunteers who know what they're doing. Now we know how hard it is to host meets. We do it. I'm gonna have to get all my volunteers here pretty soon for this spring. But this is why.
Yeah.
That's why. Because that's a state record.
The crazy part to that is that it was the year before that I did the exact same thing in shot put, blew the toe board off at Houseman Field at regionals.
Oh.
See?
And luckily, I mean, take it for what it is. The volunteers are great there because my coach fought it hard and they kept it. Now, this is not a state record throw by any means. It was probably my best throw of the year, but at that point, but it was not a state record throw. But still, my coach came in and said, "Nope, you can't do that."
Oh, it wasn't 69'4".
No. It was probably about 53'4".
Close.
I'll take one of those.
It was close.
But no, what a great that man. Can we go back and protest this still? How long has it been?
They got a photocopy of that clipboard somewhere.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So when did it click? Right. So you read out you talked about your progression there. When were you like, oh, this is my thing? Or was it ever? Or did you just do it because you were good at it? I mean, you coach now, so it must somehow be your thing. You went to college for it, but when did it click?
I want to say sophomore year.
Okay.
To be honest, I think the puzzle at the time, because as we progress, we're always putting the puzzle back together.
Yep.
I think when I hit the throw and my warm-ups at the state meet going into the finals.
Okay.
To me, I felt like I was just average Joe. I was there just to be a participant. At the time, I think his name was Vince Hellmuth. I think his name. He was a big time guy in Division II.
Yep.
And he was supposed to win. Like that was his title that day on paper. Everybody talked about him. And the next thing I knew, I put a throw out there and it ended up being like 179. And I just kept throwing. Literally, it was consistency that day. And that's like, and I said, oh, I got this. Like this. Not saying that was my state title. I'm not going to say I said that, but I said, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That was the day watching you hit those throws. I remember that day. I can still picture it. I can picture the ring. I can picture those throws. That was the day where I went, that dude's awesome. I'm looking up to him. I was just starting. That was my first year. Your sophomore year was my first year throwing. And when I made it there as a junior, same thing. Qualified because I was number 2 in our region. Got real lucky to be there. And that was the same thing. I watched you, and that was that year. Like, I'm like, holy cow, I want to be like him. That is sweet. It was the consistency part. It wasn't like you're going out there going 180 and then 150 and then 160 and then 120. You just boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm. And then you know what's crazy? I will credit everything that I know, everything that I've gathered from Coach Flan. He used to make me do what some kids would think is embarrassing, but I remember just sitting in a ring and just meditating and what do we call it? Visualization.
Yep.
And I'll never forget there was a home meet. Excuse me, I do not know how to turn this off. There was a home meet for our baseball team. And there's a lot of people over there. And he's like, no, you sit in the ring and you visualize you throwing however far you want to throw. And so if I'm going to visualize something, I'm not about to say, oh, I just want to throw 160, 170. Let's go big or go home, right?
Yep.
So that's one of the things that he taught me early in high school that I was doing. Even when other teammates in high school didn't want to do it, I sat there, I did it. And low-key, he made me do it. But whether I wanted to do it or not, I did it. And you just saw things just come to fruition. So
yep. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love hearing that. Hearing about you looking up to a high school coach, past coach, that is amazing. Like, that's where it all starts, right?
Absolutely.
He had an impact on you, and that's what we're all here for.
Mm-hmm. We hope that we try to keep things in perspective with coaches, and like, yeah, we're all competitive and we all want to win. We just had our spring head coaches meeting at BC with our athletic director,
Mhm.
And he said to us, like, you wouldn't be here if you're not competitive, and we all know that. And yeah, we want to win, but like positively impacting people is like teaching them our athletic department values are effort, attitude, excellence, respect, and teaching the kids that's the goal. So yeah, for some reason, like every coach says the same thing, right? Like that we were impacted that way by somebody, and we want to do the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. All right, so get through high school. You obviously didn't get offers from just Michigan State. So give us a little quick synopsis, like, why Michigan State? Spoiler alert, went to Michigan State. But why Michigan State? Give us a little background there.
Believe it or not, Michigan State came in late.
Really?
Yep.
Well, that was just during his first year coaching, so I guess I can kind of see that. But
Well, it was a coaching change, remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
are you guys what? Aaron, you're older?
1 year apart. Yep, 1 year older.
Yep.
So I got recruited by one coach who he ended up leaving and going to coach at Air Force.
Navy.
Shoot, I knew it.
He's still here. I still see him.
You do?
Yep.
That is awesome.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Yeah. So he recruited me, went to and he left, and then we had Coach Newell come in, who is now the assistant head coach and throws coach for Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was right during that time is when you should be out recruiting for the next year. And that was your year. Okay. All right. Sorry. Not to hijack.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So I took visits to Ole Miss, Kent State, an unofficial to Wisconsin.
Okay.
Obviously Michigan State and Oklahoma.
And that would have been a power duo right there.
Definitely.
But
everything works out the way it's supposed to. Coach Newell actually had background information on me because I went to a Judd Logan camp 1 year.
Okay.
So he just so happened, I think that was during the time when he was throwing post-collegiately.
Oh, yeah.
And
yep.
I was not in his throwing camp. I remember I was in A.G. Kruger's throwing. He was like my sensei, my teacher for the camp, right? And I didn't know that my future throws coach was there the whole time.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy small world.
Definitely. But signed Michigan State, and then things happen.
Had a heck of a career. Give us a little, you don't have to go in depth on everything, obviously, but give us a little synopsis. Just, hey, what accomplishments, where'd you end up? Give us some PRs, give us a few pieces to it.
So
highlights.
3-time Big Ten champion, 2 in the discus, 1 in the weight throw. One cool fun fact is that I have a picture where I'm smashed between Rashad Scott, who was I believe he was the defending NCAA champion in the discus, and Ryan Whiting at Nationals. Had no clue who they were. But now that I know what I know, I'm like, that was pretty cool.
That's a pretty cool photo.
Yeah. So that happened freshman year. What else? I mean, to be honest, when I arrived at Michigan State, I didn't know what to expect. I'm I was a first-gen college student.
Mm-hmm.
And so all I knew was that education, I had to graduate because I had literally my entire family. It was if I dropped out of school, my family would cuss me out. I mean, like, think of the worst of the worst.
Yep.
It was going to happen. And so I had to make sure that I graduated. And then also, I'm the type of person that when I sign up to do something, I want to put my best foot forward. So, Coach, in my eyes, people thought Coach was so crazy, but I also felt like he had something to prove because he was such a young coach. I don't think we saw that as college athletes,
No.
young, but just to see how Coach turned Michigan State throws program around within, was it 7 years?
7 years. I mean, shoot, within 2 years with a couple of picks. I mean, it was what he did was crazy. Now it took a couple of, pretty decent athletes.
Absolutely. But you know what? I mean, he had it across the spectrum.
Yeah, no, this is not a negative for anything. I was just making a joke because you're sitting here as one of those athletes, but no, he did an amazing job.
I mean, just think about it. Beth coming in and her tearing it up, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And just to see the development of Beth from, I don't know what she threw in high school as far as the disc. I know we all know shot was not her thing, and she would let you know.
She would let you know.
Just to see that he took her from a walk-on to somebody that went to the Olympic trials, and made a team. Not just I think it was our freshman year. She made I think it was the U20 team.
Yep.
And so literally setting the standard from jump.
Yeah.
And walk on. You know what I'm saying? So I think to be honest, I feel like all of my accomplishments, I couldn't have done that without all my teammates. I don't care who you were. I got pushed in some sort of way, whether it was the weight room, academics, treatment. I attribute all of my success to all of the people that was surrounded me, that pushed me. So this is not Lonnie just did it by himself. No, I had tons of help. And I thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. So if you haven't heard it, you heard it here first.
Awesome.
I appreciate and I love each and every one of y'all dearly.
That is awesome,
so
man.
Cool.
That's awesome.
And that's what we try to convince the kids every day is, like, it's the marks are individual. And it's such a weird sport because it's individual, but it's not. Like, it's the kids that you're running against every day. It's by the end of the season, you're tired of racing the dude that's next to you in practice every day. But it's the entire. I can't do what I do without the other people in the athletic team.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it without my ID. I can't do it without our assistants, without the trainers, right? Like, the rising tide lifts all boats.
Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you one quick story real quick. Hopefully I'm not overstepping.
No.
We were at the University of Illinois, and I think somebody said we cheated that year. Now, I don't believe somebody said that we were cheating that year because our weight record was being smashed every year, and it wasn't just by like one person. Jay would have it one meet. Tony would come and smash it. I would come in.
Yep.
Jay would come in. Tony would come in. Brad might even came in. And it was just trading off between our trading group, right?
Yeah.
And there's no way that all these kids at this school is, breaking, PRing like that every week. Again, that just goes to show, one, the leadership that we had from our throws coach, but also the respect that we had amongst each other to push each other in practice every day.
Yeah.
Every day. But I remember Josh McCallery, he's an 800-meter runner on our team.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is I was getting ready to throw, and I saw this guy running right in front of me, and you just want to like cheer for him so bad, but I'm like in a zone, like I'm focused. But I don't know, I just got like a gush of energy because he's running around. And I'm like, yo, if he's running hard, it's time for me to show
I
up
love that.
and
love
pop
that.
one.
Man,
And next thing you know, I hit one and I take the lead for a weight throw at our conference meet. So it just to go, like you said, Colin, like everybody has to feed off of each other. You don't know who's watching. So it's always, you should make it your duty to always put your best foot forward with whatever you're doing, because you never know who's watching, and you
Yeah.
never know who you're going to inspire. So Josh, thank you.
Yes, that's we're clipping that right there, because that's what we need the kids to hear.
Mhm.
yeah,
Right, that's what we need them to
Absolutely.
believe. Yes.
that is amazing.
Yep.
It's amazing. All right. Well, I mean, you gave us some great highlights, and man, some stuff. How have I not known some of these things throughout all these years? Blows my mind.
Really?
But anyway, all right. So, coaching wise, when did you decide in college or after college? When were you like, you know what, this is where I'm going. This is where I'm headed. This is what I want to do.
I was pushed into this involuntarily.
Involuntarily. All right.
What were you majoring in?
My major in undergrad was communication.
Okay.
I, believe it or not, I wanted to become, after I changed my major a couple times, finally, I wanted to become an athletic director.
Okay.
I love that.
So something to do with this stuff was in the picture.
Right. However, I was an original, just like every other athlete, kinesiology, exercise science major, chemistry, all the science classes kicked my butt. So by my junior year,
I mean, I was an engineering major and they kicked my butt, so don't feel.
I don't feel bad at all. Now that I know what I know,
Yeah.
it was time for me to jet because I had to graduate. I had 5 years to graduate, and we were leaving. Hey, what did Zell say? We leaving here with something.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
Leaving here with something.
Something. So I actually set up interviews with every athletic department, or excuse me, every athletic director in our department. And I found out the common denominator between majority of them was that they had a communication degree.
Oh.
So I went right to David Williams' office in our SAS department. And I said, hey, David, I think it's time to change my major to communication. He said, you sure? I say, yeah.
Let that right there, as a college student, to be able to sit here and make those connections, have those conversations, and decide, you know what, I'm going to make this change. Like that's incredible. I mean, you just don't hear
But
a lot
also,
of college kids making that jump.
the jump is one thing. Knowing who to go, like going and finding those people and figuring out what the path is. Right. That's big too.
That is.
Go ask questions.
Yep.
I mean, you have to. You have to. No one's going to do it for you.
Nope.
And if you have the type of community that I have, my family back home, pretty much they don't take no for an answer. So I even interviewed Mark Hollis.
Okay.
I got a schedule. So yes, I mean, when I say top down, even Alan Haller, so he's currently the athletic director at Michigan State right now. I interviewed him, Mr. Ayani, who else? All of them, Bader, everybody that was there. I literally lined them up, shot them an email, and said, may I interview you to ask you a few questions? And that was one of my questions was, what is your undergrad in?
Well, not only mad props to you, but to them for being willing to do that. I know that that's everyone's position, right? But to sit there and who knows how many they get. Maybe they don't get any, but to take that email and go, you know what? Yeah, I'm good with this. Let's sit down and have this conversation. Like, props to them for sitting down and doing that. And look what it's changed, obviously, in you to be able to have those conversations.
Yeah, man. It takes a village. Literally, it takes a village.
You're not kidding.
Literally. But to will it back in, I graduated in 2013, and I remember that I called Coach Flan super late, super late, and I was in my fields, and I just wanted to thank him. Like, I was just at a moment, like, I wanted to thank him for pushing me so much.
Yep.
And he didn't pick up. It was like 1:32 in the morning. I'm not joking. It just came to the point where
I know. Yeah.
I had to call, and thank God I didn't wake his wife up. But because that's just rude, right? But I mean, I celebrated with my family, but ultimately, like, I have to go back and really thank the person that put me on this journey. Outside of God, it was, he's a part of my journey. So I had to call him and thank him. And I left him like a 3-minute voicemail. Next morning, I get a call, said, "Hey, you want to do grad school?" And I said, "What? Grad school?" I said, "I just graduated with my undergrad. What are you talking about, grad school?"
Yeah.
So he's like, "Yeah, we have a position over here." Now he's transitioned from high school coaching to college coaching.
Where at?
At in the NAIA at Siena Heights University.
Siena Heights.
So I said, "Let me talk to my mom real quick. Click. Hey, Mom. So Coach Flan's talking about grad school. Think I should do it?" It's my mom, my sister, my brother, all right there. And basically they told me, screamed at me like, "What do you mean no?"
Yes.
Like, what are you thinking? Like, yes, do it.
If you don't call him back right now, we're gonna call him, and we're.
So I call him back and say, "Yeah, I'll do it." Long story short,
Your mom's like, it's either grad school or tennis. Which one?
and we're not doing tennis again. So I did not. This is the crazy part of the story. The position that he was offering, I didn't get it. I did not get it. So I moved back home with my mom, and I said, "Well, let me just try to throw post-collegiately." So I started traveling with him. Now, this guy would legit travel from his high school to Siena Heights, which is like an hour and a half one way. He'll make that trip every day, just about. So I would go with him, and I would try to throw, but I found myself helping the kids out more than I was throwing.
Okay.
So that's how all of that started. Long story short, they were recruiting a distance runner for Siena Heights. By this time I had moved up to Adrian, Michigan. And the dean of students saw me in the cafeteria. Granted, I'm probably sticking out like a sore thumb because at this time I'm 6'5", probably 270. I think I was about 275 in shape. For throwing, right? At the time. And he's like, "Who is this guy?" So he talked to me, and I'm like looking at this guy like, "Yo, who are you? Like, stop talking to me." Mind you, I had a interview at Burger King that morning at 8 a.m. And when I arrived there, the people didn't know that I was coming. So it kind of pissed me off a little bit. But I was getting food, and so I kind of brushed the dean off. And so I sat at the table with the recruit. I tuned everybody out, right? Tuned them out. And I tell everybody when I tell this story, God tapped me on the shoulder and told me to go talk to this guy. So I go and talk to Michael. And by the time I finished talking to Michael, I ended up in the Office of Diversity and Inclusion as a grad assistant to go to school. But then I said, "Hey, I need to strike a deal with you. I've already started working with these students with track and field. And do you mind if I continue this?" And he said, "Yeah, go ahead." So I was a grad student in diversity and inclusion. a graduate assistant for the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. I was going to school and I was coaching.
Busy.
Yeah.
But
That's a young
I mean,
person's life.
if you hear any, especially college coaches, but as they get started, that's the way a lot of it is.
It is.
Absolutely.
You're in 4, 5, 6 different positions, doing what you have to do just so you can stay there, be around them, figure out how you can make it work, right?
Definitely. Many nights I slept in my office writing papers, and I would sneak out before people came in around about like 6:30, 7 o'clock. Head home, take a shower, come right back, start all over again.
But that speaks wonders to how much you wanted to do it, because otherwise you wouldn't have done that.
Absolutely not.
There's no way somebody who doesn't want to do that is going to say, you know what, this is okay. It's fine for now. Like,
right.
No.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right. So obviously that works out well. And then where's after Siena Heights? Where do you go? What do you do? How do you get there?
So I did 2.5 years at Siena Heights.
Yep.
And then it was time for a big boy job. So there was a position open at Adrian College for a tutor coordinator, and I was also the trio coordinator as well.
Okay.
So I thought I was just done with athletics, and literally 2 weeks into the job, I get a call from an Iowa number. And mind you, I had an interview at Iowa State. And I'm like, why are these people calling me back? They said they didn't want me. Come to find out, the head coach at Adrian College is from Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Ben Carson. And he called over to Siena Heights and said, hey, I need a throws coach. Coach Bauer, who's the head coach at Siena Heights, told him, he said, hey, you have a great coach right up under your nose and you don't even know it. So he ends up getting my number. I literally ditched whatever I was doing at work that day. And I walked across the street and had a meeting with them. And I started in the middle of the year, like I want to say 2 weeks before the conference meet.
It's a good time to start.
Well, literally 2 weeks before the indoor conference meet. That's when I started. And I lasted a season there.
Yep.
So I went from NAIA, and at the time, I'm not going to lie, Siena Heights, we were on fire. My coach Gage, Abersol, who was a 2-time national champion in the shot. Who else? We had a Casey Renshaw, I believe her name is. She was in the weight. I still think she has the record for the women's weight all-time record for the NAIA. She threw over 70 feet. And we just had a good time at Siena. Went over to Adrian. I got an All-American in the discus. And then the following season, I get a call from good old Drenth. Hey, we got a spot open. Do you want to coach at Michigan State? I said, do you want me to quit my job now or
or can I wait? Can I wait till the end of the season? You tell me, whatever works.
No. So it was October. So like I finished the season with Adrian College.
Okay.
We're moving on. It's around, like I said, October. I get the call. I remember stepping out the building for a quick second, taking a call. And I said, I will quit this job right now, go pack up my studio apartment, and I will move to East Lansing right now. So yeah, that was my next stop, Michigan State.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean,
and that was what year?
That was in 2016.
Okay.
2016.
So 2016, you're at Michigan State. 2016 till when? I mean, obviously we didn't really talk about much, but you're not there now. So like 2016 till when?
2021.
2021.
2021 is the time I was there for.
Yep.
Did some great things.
So when you started there, what was the position title? Was it throws coach?
Yep, throws coach.
So that was you baby at that point.
Yep.
And that was your first time moving out of having to have some kind of teaching or assistant or some other position.
Some other fill in the gap thing.
Were just the assistant
Strictly
coach. You were a
track.
cross coach.
Yes. And that's the thing that I wanted. I wanted to see how far I could push myself or how good the athletes could be if I dedicated my time strictly to track and field.
Okay.
So that was the move. That was the move.
Very cool. So
Mhm.
there till 21. And
Mhm.
21, the move got made, and you went to
Towson University,
where is that?
Baltimore, Maryland. So that's
Okay.
where I'm at now.
Nice. And you've been there since 21, still loving it, obviously.
Yes. So the cool thing about this is it's an all women's team here. The proximity to different cities here is amazing.
Yep.
So it's something that I enjoy. The school is a mid-major school, but currently I'm working with Cassandra Walker Hall, who I don't think she's underrated. I'm just putting that out there, but I feel like she's one of the best coaches out there. I'm just waiting for her to strike it hot, to be honest. I'm putting this on the record. She had an athlete already who went to I think it was World Championship, Waddle Jonathas.
Yep.
That was her athlete in D3. So my head coach won D3 nationals, I think, with 4 athletes.
You hear about that in high school, but that doesn't happen often in college.
Yes.
So
before the Waddle Jonathas that you heard about
I'm assuming she was probably won the Open 4, won the 4x4. Was she also like a 800, or she dropped down to the 4x1 too? Like how?
I believe, and don't quote me, I believe she definitely ran a 4. Probably the 1. My coach loves a good 4x4, so she loves some 400 runners.
Well,
so
don't we all? You know,
absolutely. So
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they had a 4x4 and a 4x1. I do, and she loves jumps, so I'm pretty sure she had a few athletes to jump. But like I said, I believe she had 4 athletes.
It's crazy
that did their thing.
4.
Yeah, and that's rare. Like just a powerhouse schools out, and you only have 4 athletes. I will be mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your title now? Are you just throws coach still, or are you associate something, or?
No, I'm still throws coach.
What caused you to go from a Big Ten school to Maryland, to Baltimore?
We just had a coaching change, and so they didn't renew my contract, and so I was out looking for a job.
All right.
So
normal stuff.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the game, right? It's if the new head coach sees a different vision, that's the way they want to take it. And the thing about it is it sucks deep down inside, but also on the flip side, that's just the nature of the beast, and that's just the way the athletics works. And so I think by me going through that the first go round, you kind of take that personal. But after you sit back and realize, like, this is people year in and year out, it's not so bad. So,
you see it. You see it in every collegiate sport, right? Like it's the carousel. It happens. I'm assuming when you're in that beast, like you have to just accept that. 50-50 shot, it's going to happen to you, right?
Right. It can happen to me tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just got to pick up and just carry on with life.
And it doesn't matter what your career is. That can happen anywhere. Like that's a good life lesson anywhere, because that can happen no matter what you do, no matter how comfortable you are, anything. That can happen anywhere.
Yep.
But the one thing that I really do appreciate about my head coach is that she is willing to teach you what you need to know about the business.
Okay.
And she teaches us from the logistics point to budget. It's a lot of things that goes on behind the scenes to make this seem so seamless.
Yep.
And just, I remember the first when she was hired on as our head coach, I did not stop working that summer. And I had so much going on. So to be completely transparent, my grandmother had dementia. And so I was basically torn between trying to stay back and take care of her back in Michigan or moving out here. So I made the decision to move out here, and we're going through our transition with our head coach. And my grandmother called me. Now, mind you, she has dementia. She said, "When are you coming back home?" I said, now, mind you, she don't know who anybody, who they are. But she asked me, she said, "Well, when are you coming home?" I said, "As soon as I find out if I have a job or not, first thing, smoking back to Michigan, I'm on." So she retained me here. I went back to see my grandmother. And as I'm back home, Coach and I are going through roster. We're going through, well, where did y'all go last year? The meets, the whole nine. So just to go through that with her, and even to this day, I was just literally on the phone with her 5 to 10 minutes before we started this podcast. That's my girl. Like I'm like her right-hand man. So I really do appreciate the fact that she takes the time out to teach us as assistants how to be organized, how to set the standard.
Yeah.
Because she is the standard.
Yep.
And on top of that, she's a female in a male-dominated sport, and she stand tall with her. So I appreciate her a lot. She teaches us a lot.
That's awesome. That's amazing. It's amazing she takes that time, does that, and knowing that she's putting a lot of power in your hands, knowing that as you learn more and know more, it makes you more valuable in other places.
Absolutely.
And knowing that she can do that and be comfortable doing that, that's amazing.
Yeah, and to some, to a certain extent, like, hey, this is your area. I'm hands off.
Yep.
Let me see what you can do.
Yep.
So, and the cool thing is, it still to this day, it's okay to make a mistake, but let's learn from it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it for everybody. Speaking as a head coach, like it should be good. If I lose people, I want to lose them because they're getting an upgrade somewhere, because they did a good job here and they know what they're doing. That doesn't mean I want to hire a new throws coach or a new sprints coach or a new hurdles coach or anything. I don't want to have to do that because our crew is pretty good right now. But me holding that back or trying to have too much control isn't doing us any good.
Correct.
Right. So I want the people on my team to know what they're doing and to go do it. I don't need to write 5 workout plans. I've got enough to do with distance. Right. I want to trust you all to have your area under control, and I want to come in and know the kids' names and know what you're doing so that I can step in when I need to. When Aaron has a thing and can't be on the hill, I got to be able to step up there and help out. Right. If our sprint coach is gone, I've got to be able to know what's going on so I can step in. But it's supporting them, supporting you guys. That's the thing as a head coach.
Yep. I agree 100%.
Do you have any desire to be a head coach someday, or do you like the, because there's a lot of, the big difference between head coaching and position coaching is all the extra stuff, right? Like, does that interest you, or do you just want to be able to show up and take care of the throwers and
Well, to be honest, few people have, I guess, prophesied that on me, as far as, hey, I think you'd be a great head coach. I don't see it because I'm the type of person, I'm always willing to help. And so I've never seen myself in a big leadership role.
Man.
But the way that my life has panned out, I never know what's coming.
Right.
I think anything that I've planned, honest to God truth, anything that I said that, like I said, I want to be an athletic director. I've not sat in an office that says athletic director to this day. So I just go along with the flow. There's been several opportunities, as I mentioned earlier, that has come my way, and I just accept it. I take it, and I just do what I can. And hopefully the goal is to excel, but even if you fall short, I still want to make sure I bring my best.
Yep.
So
And
I don't know.
That's a maybe.
Don't
Hard maybe.
Don't undersell yourself. I've known you for a long time, and sitting here saying that you don't have the leadership side, don't undersell yourself, man.
Saying that, but you get what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying I can see it. I've seen it for a long time. Don't undersell yourself.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. All right. So I want to kind of we have a lot of, or have some, at least from what I've heard, high school kids listen to this as well, and athletes listen to this as well. So I want to ask you, okay, so when you're looking for a high school athlete, what are you looking for? What are you looking for in them? What advice can you give these athletes who are looking to get in college? How do you?
Oh man, so I have a laundry list. No, I'm playing. But I think before we even step into the athletic part, I think you have to look at character, your heart, determination, your willingness to learn. And then, the obvious is athleticism.
Yeah.
But I think all of those things that I've mentioned before is something that I'm looking at. How do you treat your parents? Because if you treat them like trash, I can't imagine how you're going to treat other people.
Exactly. For your teammates.
Exactly. And
can you sense that in just a little visit with them?
Now the pimple may show its head earlier, but I think as you go along, you do get a sense of, is this kid right for me?
Yeah.
Or do we mesh? When I do recruit, I try to recruit with my gut and go with my gut feeling.
Okay.
I think a great example for me at Michigan State was Rebecca Mammal. I literally saw her one time, and she ended up being she did a great job at Michigan State. But had I not gone out there, and what's crazy, we kid about this to this day. I was trying to talk to her mom at the state meet, and her mom blew me off. Right?
Really?
Yeah, because this was in which I didn't know this, but after a while, we talked about it. But this was the one time I think it was the one time where she didn't really get to see Rebecca compete that much. So you just have this random guy come to talk to you as your daughter's throwing. Like, dude, get out my face. Let me watch my kid throw. Like, now I get it. You know what I mean? But at the time, I was like, whoa. It's all right. I'll be back in 5 minutes after she's done because I need to talk to you.
Then we can talk again.
If I wasn't persistent in going with my gut, I don't think that I'm not saying that she wouldn't have had the career, because the young lady was talented, but we wouldn't have had or cross paths. I should say that. So,
if a kid wants, let's say a kid's got the effort and attitude, they got all the good stuff. If they want to compete, but they just don't know where to start, and what's the best way for them to, I don't know, get recruited or get on a coach's radar?
Perfect. All right. So the biggest thing
Besides
is,
throwing 70 feet.
I think to be honest, athletes need to do their research on the conference.
Yep.
First, the school. Let's see if you're going to get in first. Then 2, let's research the walk-on standards, or if the school produced a document that tells you the walk-on standards, maybe what a scholarship looks like, because everybody wants to receive a scholarship, but we're not producing.
Yep.
The other thing that athletes need to realize is that this is not just a club or recreation. These are legit people's livelihoods.
This is the real deal.
I don't think we talk about that enough.
Oh, you are right there.
And it's not just high school anymore. Like,
it is not high school.
We're pretty demanding of our kids at BC. And you can see that in the trajectory of the team. But college it's a step up.
Absolutely. Well, I feel like, to be honest, it was a step up. Now it's like I remember somebody saying this before. You're not just competing against the people in your state. You're not just competing against people in a tri-county area. You're not competing just with people in your country.
Yeah.
You're competing against the world.
Yep.
And so
especially now, when you see it in distance running, it's insane. Like the new roster stuff and scholarship stuff in D1, that's a different conversation. Right?
Absolutely. No,
like
that's a part of the conversation.
Well, 100%. But that's a whole nother episode that we can have.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you see, new distance runner from Kenya getting signed by a track team in the USA every day.
Yep.
Like, it was new announcement on a daily basis back when it was announcement time. And those are spots that aren't going to some American kid, right?
Yep. True.
So, yeah. And there's a lot of good things that will come out of this, but there's also a lot of, it's going to make stuff a lot tougher, and it's going to make stuff a lot more eye-opening for these kids who think D1's the only place to go. I need a scholarship. It's going to be very eye-opening.
Correct. But this is the thing. It's not, you can't have the D1 or bust mentality anymore.
No.
Right.
No.
And I'm going to tell you,
because guess where those kids that aren't getting signed by those D1 schools are going?
Other places.
D2, NAIA, D3. I mean, they're everywhere.
But I'm going to tell you who's done a fantastic job. Coach Connolly at Grand Valley.
Yep.
Taking kids. I mean, Grand Valley has always been, since we were in school, top tier. Set the bar at the D2 level, right? Now, I shouldn't even say D2 level, just in general, because when you talk about track is track.
Track is track.
Track is track. Yep. They've always set the standard. And so I've always given props to Grand Valley. Anytime I see them doing or accomplishing anything, posting anything, I'm trying to be their number one cheerleader, because they've always, Coach Baltus, he's always set the bar so high. And so just to see what they're producing now, and it's local kids,
Oh, I mean, half the kids that are sitting there right now that they've recruited the last 2 years, we've competed against. I mean, Nolan is good friends with almost all of them. He almost went there because of that. I mean, they are doing amazing things.
Right. And it goes back to just character, heart, determination, willingness to learn, blood, sweat, and tears. Literally, blood, sweat, and tears. Like, it's a cliche, but literally, there's nights that just cry. You just gotta cry.
Oh no, you're not getting there. You are, boy. There is more times than I can tell you that I get done with the practice going, I'm just gonna go lay in a corner right now.
Literally.
Literally.
So
That is
going back to your question, that's what we look, or at least I look for an athlete.
Kids gotta have the attitude, the marks for where they're thinking. They gotta know, and they gotta make it obvious they did a little bit of research.
Oh no, we gotta do a lot of bit of research.
A lot of research.
a lot of bit of research. Like if I just tell you the mascot,
So when you see that email from some kid and it's clear they copy and pasted it and forgot to cross the previous coach's name out and put your name on there,
you're like, dang,
you're not even looking.
You're so close.
But at the same time, I feel like as a coach, you better dot your I's and cross your T's as well. Just because they made that minor mistake, you never know what the kid can turn into. So yeah, you could feel offended or whatever, but hey, let me check these stats real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure we're good.
Yeah. Check the stats.
Check the stats. You know who that's from?
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Shout out to Antonio. I'm gonna text him. I'm gonna talk to him in a while.
All right. Let's go through just a couple more here. I don't want to make us too long, but give us your number one most important lesson you've learned. I don't care if it's coaching. I don't care if it's when you're competing. I don't care if it's just life in general.
Okay. Taking the good with the bad. Let's start there.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the good with the bad. And this goes from high school. I can give you great moments. I can give you bad moments. Let me tell you, even Coach, I know one of my bad moments in high school. Man, I almost didn't come to Michigan State for a quick second.
Ooh.
But even before I even got there, it was the village that took care of me to make sure. Long story short, I hit a person with a discus. And that was a pretty low moment in my life. But on each level, each school, there's been great moments. There's been bad moments. But you just take the good with the bad.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I would say is time heals all wounds.
Ooh.
If you give yourself some time,
whatever
lick you took, you're gonna give it right back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say, lastly, just watch how you treat people, because you never know if you're going to spin the block.
The golden rule.
Yeah, and you know what's okay. I'm gonna leave that out, but yes,
you never know. You never know when the coaching staff you're on is going to turn over, and you're going to need some help from somebody else later.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely. And so even as a coach, I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in pushing our athletes. And sometimes I feel like, we have tunnel vision, but sometimes you got to pull those blinders off and really look at the person.
Yeah.
And coach the person.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's okay to take the coaching hat off.
Yep.
Take the coaching hat off and be your government name.
Yeah.
Have a heart-to-heart with your athlete, because, with these athletes that are going through life, they're transitioning from high school to college, but you also have to realize they're transitioning from a boy or girl or a young man, young woman to a man,
to an adult.
They're
going through those hard years.
Absolutely.
100%.
And so you don't know their background. You don't know what they're going through with a family life and girlfriend, boyfriend, or their friends in general. Maybe just be academics, whatever it is. But at the same time, you just have to watch how you talk to people, treat people, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And even for us, we're in our 30s, and we're like, oh, we can look back on some of the stuff that stressed us out in high school and be like, ah, man, that was high school stuff. But that's the kids' stay right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's their in the moment. That's their life.
Right.
Mhm.
And part of our job is to take care of that. One thing our AD is always telling us, like, it's a relational thing. Tonight in our meeting, he put there's a graphic he put up, and it was an XY axis, and
Uh-oh.
on the horizontal it was warm, so like personal versus cold, right?
Right.
And on the vertical, on the Y, it was high expectations and low expectations, right?
Right.
And we should all want to be that warm coach who has high expectations,
Right.
that relational coach who has high expectations. And the relationships are the things that can get kids to want to follow those expectations.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just a demanding, go in there and practice isn't fun, it's the place they don't want to be, and all you care about is the results, then that's not gonna get them to buy into the high expectations, the hard part. So yeah.
But as we all know, as coaches and just being the master of whatever our skill is, some days you just gotta be that coach.
Oh, for real.
Lay it down.
Yes.
100%.
From an athlete, I'm talking
That's
to
where the high versus low expectations goes, because there's lots of
Right.
warm coaches, lots of warm, fuzzy coaches who are great relationships, and their kids are leaving practice early, and it's you know what? It's no big deal. Oh, you got to get a haircut? No problem. Go do that.
right.
Haircut's more important than practice, right?
Right. And hopefully, the athletes are listening, but those are the times that where the coach get to pull a little bit more out of you, and it's not so much of them attacking you personally, it's them trying to make push you to be great.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like a lot of people are starting to take it personal. It's not personal.
Nope.
It's them trying to get you to realize what's really inside of you that they see that you don't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That's not always easy to see when you're on the outside of yourself trying to look in.
Absolutely. So
all right, couple more here and then we'll wrap this thing up. What is one thing, meet, whatever you want to look at, that you are looking forward to for this year? Indoor, outdoor, I don't care, you pick. What's the number one thing you're looking forward to?
Mr. You already know what I enjoy. Championship season, man.
Yes.
So conference meet, NCAAs.
And ain't that the hard part of our sport? Because like that time of year is so fun.
Yes.
It's so fun. But then you're like, dang, it's over.
Mm.
I mean, that's what we worked so hard for.
Mm-hmm.
I used to see so many people as an athlete just get so stressed when it came to Big Tens. And I'm sitting there looking like, what are y'all stressed about?
This is the most fun.
This is what we worked hard for. This is the final exam.
Yeah.
Final exam for this quarter, or excuse me, for this semester.
Yeah.
So like literally we prepare for this. I remember one time we were coming out of our hotel in Iowa, and a distance runner was like, why are you just happy? Because this is an exciting time.
Because you're like, because I don't got to run 2 miles today, man.
That too. But you should be laser focused. Don't get me wrong, you should be laser focused. But this is the time to go out there and just handle your business. Like, when you're prepared, you could turn this off and just handle business. And that's one thing that I really, really enjoyed about being an athlete during this time, but also as a coach too. I try to instill this in my athletes. We've done weeks, months of preparation. Go out there and just handle business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do it.
Yeah. And we've got to remember that as coaches too. Like I have to work really hard not to to enjoy those big meets, enjoy the championship meets. and let the score is going to be what it is, right? Like at that point, I can't. There's a few things I can do to make sure the kids are okay. Make sure the kids are ready for their race, whatever. Make sure kids are ready for warming up at the right time, doing the right things. But really, when it's them in the clock, when it's them in the measuring tape, like I can't do more.
Right.
I don't. So I shouldn't worry about that.
Correct.
And if we've done our jobs, like, and then they're ready, then if they're ready to do their best, then all we can do is sit back and watch and enjoy it.
Literally. It just boils down to preparation.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it. Nothing you're changing then. You put the work in.
That part. So the hay, like they say, the hay is already in the barn. So
Yep.
Go ahead, coach, sit back, relax. Let's have a good weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just cheer these athletes on. So
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. One last one. Now this one I'll let you choose which one you want to change. But if you could change one thing about the MHSAA, which you haven't been around in a little while and understand, or the NCAA,
okay,
what would you change?
Let's see here. Can we move it back to the MHSAA real quick?
100? Yeah, you want to stick there? That's fine. I mean, it might have already been changed. You don't know, but
I would have enjoyed, and tell me if I'm wrong. If it's two things. One, if they had like a meet of champions, where it's all 4 divisions. Well, no, all 6 divisions, because we have the UP, right?
Yep.
If
all 6 divisions just came around or came together. Let's just select 2 or 3 athletes out of each division, so you can have a couple rounds or whatnot, or enough to host a flight.
Yep.
And just let them go head up.
I like that.
And let's really crown a champion for the state of Michigan. I think that will be cool. I think the other thing that will be awesome, this is from the coaching perspective, is break up the dates for the state meet. Because as a coach, we were running around. Some of them still running around with the heads cut off, trying to go from Rockford to west east.
Yeah.
What's another one?
Well, you got Zeeland East, you got Rockford, you got Hudsonville's hosting now, Kent City's hosting, you've had Coopersville, you've had.
How about this? What if it was a 2-day meet?
Okay.
And everybody was at the same place.
There you go. That's even better. Because then you still had was it East Kentwood? Let me tell you, I am surprised. I want to know how many coaches have received a speeding ticket in their coaching career, trying to get from one location to the next, because you already know, you may have an assistant, or you may have a coaching buddy that, hey, the mile is up, or I got the 200s coming up, or the shot and the disc about to go off, but I'm like 20 minutes out, and I really want to see a couple athletes compete, or at least catch and talk to them, So,
hey, you asked the question. How many do you have?
0.
Oh, okay.
0, man. Yeah, I think if they did that, I think that would just. I mean, I don't know what it will look like from a budget perspective, but that will make college coaches' lives so much easier.
Which would be, it'd be better for the kids.
Yep.
That's exposure, yes.
It would be.
Absolutely. From the NCAA perspective, we're transitioning, I feel like, every day with
something new. Oh man, it's not even my job, and I'm like, I can't imagine what your life is like right now. This is, you're adjusting and readjusting, man.
Literally. Like, we just had a staff meeting the other day, and we're just talking about new stuff that's trying to come into play for the upcoming year, or just speculating what could happen.
Right. There's a new lawsuit, a new injunction.
Right.
Yeah.
The goalposts are moving.
All right. Well, you don't have to choose one there. I understand. One or the other was fine. If you got something, that's fine. But if not, don't feel like you're on the stand here trying to come up with something.
Oh, absolutely not. That's my thing is, the NCAA is, like you said, the needle's always moving, but you just got to keep up with the Joneses. So
Nice.
again, it's putting your best foot forward.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's a more fun one. If you had to continue coaching track and field, but you couldn't coach throws,
Okay.
what would you learn to switch to?
Ooh, see, I already got you beat.
Okay, what have you had to learn to coach?
So by us being a women's only program, this is before the rule change. We were only entitled to 3 full-time coaches. So when my new head coach came in, I was helping coach the sprints, or just assisting. So I learned about block starts, even going to USATF CCA, the convention. I would sit in there. I remember Coach Carroll that said University of Georgia, but formerly she was at USC, going to go sit in on a few of her, or not a few, but I remember sitting in on one of her talks or presentations and just talking about shin angles and how important it is, listening to Boo and just
he's the GOAT.
Listen, and that's the thing, man. So like listening to these people and then applying this in practice. Mind you, I never written up a workout, but just the technical pieces. I also helped out with the high jump.
That's
learned a little bit about triple, learned a little bit about long. The 400. I have a few workouts up here when it comes to that. So I've been around the block a little bit.
There you go. Do it long enough and you're gonna have to, right?
Literally.
That's awesome. But that's the thing. That's like the workout. The thing in which people understand is the workouts themselves. Like you can very easily write a bad workout, especially for sprinters. But it's a lot of little technical stuff that you can get a kid fit, but if they can't start, then it doesn't matter. In the mile, I can get a kid fit, but if he can't be there when it counts on the last lap, right?
Right. Like you
So
said,
it's the smaller stuff that matters.
Absolutely. And that's the cool thing I think about with the throws. It's so technical.
You're already in that mode.
And I go and I look at 100 meter or 200 meter or 400 and just listening to my coach during practice and just listening to the different checkpoints, right?
Yep.
Making those transitions as they run. That stuff is always in here. So when I'm sitting on the side and I'm coaching my throwers or whatnot, but the track is right here, usually we're off in Egypt somewhere. when we are given the opportunity to be right at the track, I can shout a cue out that I know that my head coach has shouted out in practice 101 times in one day for the athlete, just to contribute something. So,
Yep.
It's awesome. Yes. That's awesome. All right. Well, we appreciate your time. We're a little over an hour right now. I mean, this is amazing for you to give up time in your busy schedule to talk to us. Just a couple of guys out here trying to have some fun, and man, it's awesome.
I love it. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and thanks for asking me to join you all. And y'all just keep this up. I really hope that people listen to this and really take something from it.
I already have.
Oh,
You've been encouraging to me, so that's awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. Seriously, it's like I said, I don't know how I've known you, been friends with you now for better part of whatever we're at now, 16 years, 19 years.
yeah,
And
it's
I'm
long.
still hearing stuff
But
like,
isn't that
what?
that's all one of my other favorite things about this sport is you guys met in high school, opposite sides of the state,
Mm-hmm.
and you became friends back then. Like that's
Mhm.
the cool thing about our sport is our kids meet people at meets and you form relationships that a lot of times don't go away.
Mhm.
Oh, it's people.
Absolutely.
You know what's crazy? I met somebody in high school, right? And they used to call him Little Lonnie. Tell me why I ended up coaching him in college.
You ended up coaching in college.
Yes. So again, it goes to you. Again, it goes back to treating people well,
Yep.
and again, you never know who you're gonna, what path, well, like when that path is gonna cross.
Mm-hmm.
So just be kind to people.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's it. That's it.
Yep.